Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson and this is As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 29th day of August, 2024. Well, I hope you're having a good week. Certainly been interesting. What's going on in the country? But I guess none of us should be surprised anymore, right? Let's take a look at the Elder Futhark rune here to get us started. For the reading, we have Uruz. Now, Uruz is the second rune of the Elder Futhark. It means the oryx. Now, oryx were a type of, type of bull or bison or something that kind of has the slanted, like a bison has. They don't go. The back doesn't go straight across like on a cow. It kind of goes at a kind of an angle there. It's what it reminds me of. It's really about energy shaping matter. Obviously, when bison go running through things, they tend to shape their environment, don't they? The same sort of thing here. You have the two legs coming downward, manifesting into form. And so the idea of shaping your experiences from higher awareness, having the inner strength to do that, coming from spirit versus ego, to not be the bull in the china shop, but maybe to manifest your experiences in a more subtle way. That takes into account the effect that you have on others. That might be one way to look at Uruz today. Let's take a look at the Geomancy rune on the ego side of things and see what it has to say. Let's see. Looks like we have Kata Draconis. Is that Kata Draconis? Yeah. Kata Draconis. I think we had we had a missio last time. We had Kata on last Thursday. That's when we had it. Kata is the tail of the dragon, or the south node of the moon. And when you talk about the south node of the moon, you're talking about past lives or past experiences or something impacting the present moment. And so this would be Kata Draconis. Its complement Caput, which is the head of the dragon, or the north node of the moon, talks about the future. And so but basically, we all have karma we have to work off in this life, and some of us more than others. And if you want to look at it and not use the word karma, it's really about how our past experiences influence our decisions in the present moment. Are we going to learn from the things we've experienced in the past, whether we did well or we messed up or whatever it was? Are we going to learn something from that and carry that into how we proceed in the future, in the present moment and in the future? Or are we just going to be a prisoner of them and keep making the same mistakes over and over again? How you shape your reality is your choice. And with Uruz, it could be asking us that: Are we taking advantage of what we've learned, hopefully learned, instead of just experienced? Are we going to actually learn something from all of that and use it to shape the decisions that we make in the future? Or are we just going to, kind of go from thing to thing and not connect the dots? And when we do connect the dots, is it going to come from someplace that reflects higher awareness, or does it reflect, the reactive ego? If it's the ego, then I don't know. It's going to be, you're probably not going to learn a whole lot from your experiences. So maybe that's what this is about here today, but we'll see. We have one card from the Major Arcana, one from Swords, and one from Cups. The Major Arcana card is the 9th card from the Major Arcana, the Hermit. The card from Swords is the Three of Swords here. And then we come out in a better moment here with the 10 of Cups. I think what I want to do, though, is I want to put the Hermit in the center. And I'm going to, instead of talking about that first, I think I'm going to talk about the betrayal felt in the Three of Swords. Let's talk about this first. Here we have a heart with 3 swords piercing it. 2 seem to be behind the one in the center here. you see clouds in the sky. The sky's all gray. Rain's coming down. Generally speaking, with the Three of Swords, it indicates a betrayal of some kind. It could be a love triangle. It could be, friendship that maybe, say there's three friends that hang out, and really two are kind of undermining the other, or saying nasty things about the other. I mean, we know that from high school and grade school, how that can happen. But it can also happen in adulthood as well, where you think you have friends, but you really don't. It could be any kind of undermining, but it's upset, and it's how do you express yourself within that? Again, especially when you've got the idea of people doing things behind the scenes that you may not know about, and then suddenly you find out, and it's like, oh my goodness, now what do I do? And so three is about communication. Swords is also about communication and the intellect. How do you process that in a way that you still have some dignity about yourself and you can stay rational about it? Because obviously in moments like that, it's not the most rational thing in the world, right? You're kind of you're upset, and you're not really sure what to do. Any type of betrayal or undermining is like that, no matter what it is. You can feel betrayed in a lot of ways by somebody else, or in this case, it's indicating two other people, is generally how you look at this card. From there, you go to the Hermit, and the Hermit is standing on a snowy peak up here. Snowy ground up above everything. He's looking down at the world below him. He's holding his staff in his left hand, and he's holding a lighted lantern in his right. And the lighted lantern has the Merkaba. If you look really close there, you can see the Merkaba is right there. And what that indicates is he's getting up above all of the nonsense, in other words, what's happening in terms of the betrayal, and trying to get some kind of higher vision surrounding it. So you could have something happening in your life today where you feel betrayed by somebody else, or other people, we'll say, more than one person, where you feel undermined, where you feel like suddenly you're discovering things that you just didn't know and about it, and it's upsetting, and it kind of gets you off your game a little bit. And you're not really sure what to say. You're not really sure how to respond. You can get into a fight about it, but ultimately, it's really at the heart of that is fear. It's also feeling unloved, uncared for, unsupported, and so you're kind of, whatever that foundation you thought you had may not be there, and unfortunately, it's just a truth you're going to have to deal with. At this point, we don't know what the outcome of that's going to be, because it could be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And so I don't want to get too specific about it. But at minimum, you've got to get above it, and you've got to see it from a bigger perspective. And that's hard to do in the moment when you're feeling betrayed or undermined or otherwise hurt in some way. Maybe harsh words were spoken that can't be taken back, at least not at this point. Maybe later, you got to have some time, But with the Hermit, it suggests that there could be a different way of seeing it. And as hard as that is, you just have to keep that in the back of your mind. And when you're ready, you do that. But there's with a 9, you're looking at not only spirituality and generosity, you're also looking at endings and completion. So there may be something that comes to an end as a result of either how you see the situation could come to an end. Now you know better, and that may be what comes to an end. Your perceptions change about things. You're maybe a little more watchful. Maybe not as trusting of those people, because they've proven that they can't be trusted. And so maybe there were cues, maybe there were signs along the way, and you didn't give it much, you didn't pay too much attention to it, because a lot of stuff just happens in the course of the day, and it's all fleeting, and that doesn't really mean anything. But then later on, you find out that it did. And so you learn a little something about discernment. You learn a little something about paying attention and just sort of filing things away, just in case there's a pattern that's developing. I mean, maybe it's not. but maybe there is, and at least you could be a little bit prepared for it. There's this feeling here of I didn't know, and now I do, and it's and that's typical with betrayal, isn't it? And so again, with the hermit, you want to be in a position where you retreat from the situation. You give yourself some time to really think about it, and think about it from a higher perspective, higher awareness. Go into meditation, whatever you have to do to turn your attention to that the soul level of things, who you are as a soul, to look at the situation from maybe a less judgmental perspective, not getting so caught up in the emotion of it, and allowing other people to own their own stuff. And if they don't want to, oh, then that's still on them. That's not your choice that you've made. But being able to see things from a perspective that's maybe a little bit more dispassionate, maybe that's the only way you can really look at the hermit here, depending on what's happening here, what the Three of Swords is describing. I mean, it could be something really serious, where it's life changing. Such as maybe a love triangle, and you're married and your partner's having an affair, and that could be pretty life changing, especially if a divorce happens as a result, which oftentimes it does. So it depends on what this is, and how serious it is for you. But getting above it and trying to take the emotion out of it and seeing things from a spiritual perspective may be something you can do to try to gain a better understanding of yourself in it, and what you need and need from them, that's caused the issue. I mean, maybe it's just something where at the end of the day it gets worked out and people apologize, and maybe you learn some things you didn't know, and so you understand a little bit more about how they might have done something like that, even though it's still unacceptable. There's nothing wrong with understanding what motivated them. But at the same time, there still has to be boundaries, established, that people just don't behave this way to one another, right? Even if that's just what comes out of it, and nothing really catastrophic occurs at the end of it all. Still, there's a lesson to be learned in all of it. And then when that happens, maybe you can find some inner peace about things. Here we have the Ten of Cups, and you see 10 cups, golden chalices, embedded in the rainbow above. Lovely blue sky. You see a family looking toward what appears to be their home on the hill. Maybe they just bought the home, and there's the kids dancing, and mom and dad are raising their arms in celebration to the new home that they have. 10 again is about new beginnings. If you reduce 1 and 0 is 1, then 1 is new beginnings. Also, completion can be found in 10 as well, not just the 9. So you could say endings in the 9 and completion in the 10 maybe. But something positive could happen. It's indicating that whatever's happened here, something positive can result from it. Even if it's that you gain a better awareness of discernment, of understanding, paying closer attention to the signs along the way. Whatever can empower you can happen from something like this. And the 10 of Cups could be signaling that. Cups is the emotions. It's about compassion and understanding and love, and change also with the water element. And here you have, even though this is swords, you've got the water element here being displayed behind, also with the heart. That's the water element. So you've got a blending of air and water there, of intellect and emotion, where you have to find a balance between it, with all of it, to see it from a balanced perspective. And maybe with the hermit, that's the message there, is to see it in a balanced perspective. It doesn't mean you're not going to be upset about something, or you shouldn't be, because maybe you should be. I think certainly something like this happens. It's normal to be upset. But at some point you have to make some sense out of it and understand it better. And when you do, whatever ends up happening here, you're going to be okay. Now, the other two people involved might not be. If this was a work situation, for example, and you had two people that were trying to undermine another, and it caused havoc in the business, and the boss says, that's it, the two of you are out of here. Not going to put up with that kind of crap in my business. We're here to get along. We're here to make money. We're here and you guys are all fighting and doing things and undermining each other. That's not going to happen. That's not going to work for me as the boss, as the business owner. It's going to impact things. You've got I have an employee here who's completely upset about what happened, and I don't blame him. And so maybe the two people get fired. But you, the person in the center, who's been victimized, essentially, you will be okay. And that's what the Ten of Cups is suggesting, that you'll be okay in this. You're going to come out in a better place, having, shaped your reality in a way that demands boundaries, that demands awareness, that demands respect and dignity and honor and integrity. That we're not going to engage this way. I won't have this in my life. And so in the end, you may make some decisions that increase your happiness and emotional security and your peace of mind. Just not taking crap like this sometimes is enough to empower you to feel that way. And so even though you might be coming to an end of something with Kata Draconis, also with the 9 on the with the Hermit. You're coming to the end of having to deal with something like this. You're going to make your mind up. You're going to decide what you need to do and how you need to see it. And in the end, you're going to be the one that's happy. Because you've taken care of it. You've established what you're going to take and what you're not, and that this is how it's going to be for you. And if the other people can't handle it, oh well, that's on them. It's not on you. But you can't also just stand there and let people do things to you either and say nothing. And so I think that there has to be some kind of decision made within about how you're going to see something like this that happens when a betrayal happens. And then when you do that, then it empowers you to take back your happiness and to take back control of that and not leave it to, the machinations of other people. Let me take a look here, though, first at before we close here, and see if we can draw anything from the numerology. We've got a 2 for Urus, 3 for the 3 of Swords, plus 9 for the Hermit, and 10 for the 10 of Cups. So we have 24, so 2 plus 4 is 6. So 6 is the overall numerology. I'm going to put that there on my little post-it note. 6 would be the numerology, and there, you're looking at guidance and assistance and empathy and shared purpose, shared direction. But at the end of the day, it's the higher council that's going to give you the most help on this, I think. And to get you to understand that you're the one that shapes your reality, not somebody else. And it's up to you to make that happen and to make the right choices you need to make and to move into that happy place that you deserve to be in. And it just seems to me that whatever's happening here, this just tells me you're going to be okay in it, and you're going to regain your emotional happiness. You're going to regain what's rightfully yours here. So, and the other people can go figure it out themselves, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. And have a good weekend. And click subscribe if you haven't. I'd love you to do that. And come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.